There, I pressed the button. So, we saw a film.
For the first time in ages in front of a camera.
See, alright, so I was bribed.
See, I've been to a bunch of films, but only by myself or with Teddy, and I didn't have a camera, so no backseat critiques, alas. But this is different, and hopefully the start of more often backseat critiques, but you can explain.
See, the Omniplex, which is a chain of cinemas in Ireland and Northern Ireland, they're doing this thing where it's like, what, $7.99 a month?
Equivalent.
Yeah, which works out to 160
160-ish.
Do the math. But basically what it gets you is it gets you to one free ticket to everything that's showing. Doesn't count like special engagements or like midnight releases or something like that.
They're included.
And, you get 10% off of the ticket, the second ticket if you're booking with someone who doesn't have the membership, and 10% off all your snacks and drinks and stuff like that. And so I came home one day from uni to a pile of British pound sterling notes on my keyboard.
Because I got it for myself, and
I was like, "That's great. I think that's great, honey."
I decided that I was going to get my money's worth for it. So, like in the first week, I saw The Addams Family, Hocus Pocus, The Shining, Doctor Sleep, and Terminator: Dark Fate. And then I was like, I miss watching films with my spouse and doing backseat critiques.
It was so American of you just now.
So I was like, here, have some money. Now you don't have an excuse but not going to the cinema with me.
It's true.
I've literally paid for a year of cinema for you.
I have no excuse. But so she was like scrolling through and she's like, "Do you want to see the Addams?" I'm like, "No, you said it was alright. How about this?"
No, it was pretty crap.
You want to see Joker? No, I don't feel like it. What about The Good Liar? What's that about? Oh, it looks like Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren, kind of like a spy thriller action
I saw parts of a trailer. It looked like an action film.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be like The Expendables, and I was like, "Oh wow, old people running around doing action."
Actually, that's Red. Mm-hmm. That is literally Red. Mm-hmm. The old people teaming up into to do action hero stuff. So I was expecting something like Red.
Yeah. And then so we started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, I get it. It's going to be kind of like a True Lies, kind of like rom-com, old people rom-com, but also spies." And then it went to very different places, and I'm really hoping that Film Brain sees this and wants to talk about it on his podcast, because finally I could be like, "Look, I've seen one of the movies, we can talk about it," because I want to talk about this.
Well, how about this? I'm going to send him a text right now, literally.
There you go.
I have his number. Do you have his number? Possibly not.
No, don't text him. Oh,
I'm going to text him. I'm going to message him.
Oh, anyway.
Omega saw The Good Liar and once.
That's not how I would say it.
I'm saying it.
No, I will message him separately.
There you go.
Do not speak for me.
Well, this is my opinion of how you...
I'll message him later. Because now it's a cliffhanger. Because now, like, if he ends up being like, "Oh, I'm not doing a podcast this month," then everyone will be let down. Okay. So...
If I get a message from someone else, I haven't sent anything, but if I get another one from someone else, I'll be like, "Oh no, drama."
But anyway, so... Should we synopsize it?
Yeah.
I mean, spoilers, there's a big twist. Not like a Shyamalan-esque twist, but a pretty admirable twist. So if you're going to see this and you're a spoiler person, I'd reckon...
It is mystery, thrillery, drama-y type thing. I was all like, Bill Condon directed this. I know that name.
Who is he?
He started off with like the crappy sequel to Candyman. Then he got like Oscar buzz for Gods and Monsters, starring Ian McKellen.
Right.
As director James Whale. Then he did he did several other films. He did like the last two Twilight films for some reason.
Oh no.
Then he did the Ian McKellen Sherlock Holmes retired. Comes out of retirement.
So they're friends.
Ian McKellen's his muse.
One of the best things about this film is that you get to hear Sir Ian McKellen say the phrase "fucking cunt" several times, and not in like a chipped, polite, posh kind of way, in like a hardened crim kind of way. And it was pretty. The only thing that would have been better if he had a Cockney accent, like a Michael Caine kind of thing going on there.
And once again, we have Ian McKellen playing a character who is connected to World War II. I am not kidding when I say you could create an entire coherent World War II drama based around characters and other films that Ian McKellen has played that has something to do with World War II. British servicemen, Nazis, Jews, all of them. It's amazing.
Oh, that's right, because Magneto was a Holocaust survivor.
That's one. That apt pupil, the key,
oh, right.
this. There's a fuckload of them.
That's what he does. But so basically, it starts off as two old people meeting through like what was it called? Distinguished dating.
Yeah.
Was the site, and it was fantastic, and they're like, I am to light a little bit. I actually drink. He's like, oh, I smoke, and so there's that, and then it just layers and layers and layers, just kind of like, I can't even, like, it just kind of ramps up to like the point where like, how did we get here from two little old people awkwardly meeting in a restaurant?
Yeah.
And that was really brilliant,
It was like elderly English, prim and proper for the most part version of like Jerry Springer.
I wouldn't go that far. There was
no
no like baby mamas.
The ridiculousness of the family history is different, the revealing of stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I guess I
could totally see this being like putting them on Jerry Springer.
Okay, yeah. So basically, Ian McKellen is playing a con artist, and he's a financial con artist, and he's involved with this other guy. They've been partners for a long time, and they swindle people. And so basically, his side swindles are old ladies. He changes his identity, swindles old ladies and things and stuff. And so Helen Mirren's character, she is a retired Oxford professor who lives alone in some little old person development. And occasionally her grandson stays there, and he's studying for his PhD in history.
It's Russell Tovey, who played Alonzo Frome in New Who from Voyage of the Damned. He was the wee guy who got shot in the bridge.
I wondered why I recognized him. But so then it goes from, this is not what I expected to, as it gets deeper and deeper, and he looks at swindling her. Apparently she has a pretty big nest egg. She has a few £1 million stashed away. You're like, oh no, poor innocent Helen Mirren. Oh no.
But everyone knows Helen Mirren is not to be fucked with in the end.
And so you kind of like you kind of start to turn against him, but he's still Ian McKellen. And then he double crosses some of his business associates, and then he has a Russian, not a mobster, but you're led to believe this guy's connected to some dark money. Has him beat up. He straight up fucking murders another guy on the tube, which was just fantastic. I turned and I said, guess what? It's an action film now. And so, but he's trying to get her to go into a joint account so he can drain the money and make off with it.
He's Gandalf the slightly morally crooked.
Morally grey?
Yes!
That's where you're going with that. Right, so then they go off on a holiday because she mentions that her late husband always wanted to see Paris and Milan and Berlin.
You have several million quid. I wonder why they never bothered doing it before that.
Well, I kind of got the impression that she was hinting that he was ill because he wanted to, and he'd only been dead about a year at that point. Or maybe the husband didn't even exist, and he'd been dead for longer than that. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, my glasses went dark.
How odd.
But so... God, so then they go to Berlin, and then there's goings on in Berlin.
And you were like, I've been in Berlin, I know that place.
I've been to several of those places. And I've only spent a day in Berlin.
And I was like,
nice.
I've never been in Berlin.
Well, I said that we could go, it's cheap enough.
It just looks like a place in Germany to
Well,
me.
we'll go someday. You can see the big gate.
Yeah.
I took my first ever selfie in, 2017 in Berlin at a Dunkin' Donuts. Because we found one. And it was just such a magical experience.
Because Omega has an obsession with Dunkin' Donuts.
Listen, Emma was all with me about it.
This is one of the causes of friction in our relationship, that I prefer Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme's nasty. But anyway, so they, the grandson who's been a right dick, he's been such an asshole to... And then you're like, okay, well, he's got a reason to be an asshole to Ian McKellen. He is up to no good, but God, what a dick. And so he arranges to bring them to this flat, and he's like, I know that you said that you served and you have that scar. You were injured, but 3 years after the war. And he's like, yeah, okay, look, I was kind of like SAS, kind of, we were hunting Nazis, and, we're supposed to take someone down, and it went off the rails, and yeah, that's how I got the scar. And he's like, yes, but the guy that you were after got captured. I have all the information. I got it from the Russians. It's never explained how this is. I mean, I guess
it's historical record. It's historical record.
And so
the Soviet World War II records were released.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought.
Either around the time of the fall, the fall of the Iron Curtain, or beforehand. It's old news. No one cares.
Okay, that's fair enough. So then he's like, yeah, you weren't your man. He's like, yeah, I was the German translator. I saw this British officer get his face blown off. And I had no family. They all died either before the war or during it. I had nothing, and I had been speaking English since I was 14, so I stole his identity. I came to England, and I wrote to his parents, and I basically said, look, my life is going in a different direction. I love you, but I have to go do things and stuff. And then I waited until they passed away, which I thought was actually kind of compassionate. At least, not...
Well, that's what he says he did.
Yeah, well, okay, if that was true, then that would be kind of compassionate. And then, so, everyone's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, and they're like, right. So then they go back and...
It's probably, because this is a mystery thriller type thing, it's probably best not to summarize the entire thing, so that's a good point to leave
because it. Because that's how, weird that then there's more. There's so much more.
I will say,
if you really want to know, just let's look up the plot on Wikipedia.
I will say the grandson being a dick to the guy overall. I see that as being a bit detrimental to the plan that they were doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I think that's only there to cause intrigue for the film. If they were doing it in real life, that would be a bad thing for their plan.
Yeah, but remember, but there's that throwaway line at the end, and he was like, "Any mistakes that I made, it's because I'm kind of fond of you."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, you wee dote." And that's all you get.
But it all worked out.
It all worked out in the end. But it was just and it was kind of like, you were trying to, okay, this piece of the puzzle, and this piece of the puzzle. And I had several theories, and usually I'm pretty good at getting the mark midway through. And there were several different, I was like, yeah, but there's these 3 loose threads that haven't been tied up. I bet they're important. They're not just red herrings. It could be this, it could be that. And then when you finally got, the gut punch of the climax, you were like, right, well... okay, wow. And I know this probably won't get any awards, but I think that it should, because it was really good. Because I didn't even notice how invested I was until I was like, right.
I thought I'm less impressed, but I thought it was fine. It's one of these sort of plots.
You have nothing to complain about. There's no CGI.
Yes, it's one of those plots. Ridiculous novel plots. When you put them into a film, it is ridiculous. And it totally wouldn't work in real life, and same way a superhero film wouldn't work in real life. But in a superhero film, it's all surface level why it wouldn't work, because no one has powers. But in this one, it's like the amount of things would have to go just perfectly for this to happen, and then they had to do all these things. It's just, I found it straining credibility.
I didn't, because it only takes one chance encounter to realize, oh, okay, and then set everything in motion. And she didn't get where she was, in life
by not being Helen Mirren.
But I feel like they made a mistake. There's a scene where Ian McKellen takes a note out of his wallet and puts it down on a counter, and it looked to me like one of the new British tenors, one of the new plastic ones. So I don't have an IMDb account, but I think Phil and Brenda will have to tip him off, because it really didn't look like one of the old paper ones. It looked like one of the new plastic ones.
The actors,
and the reason that important is it's set in 2009.
Yeah, it's set in 2009. And the actors, I feel, are a little bit young for the parts they were playing, but I could be wrong about that. But apart from that,
I thought that it was all right. There's a scene where they go on watching Glorious Bastards, which I thought was kind of good.
It's a random thing for 2 very elderly people to go see.
Well, you notice that they were like, oh, dear. And then, in the twist, you're like, right. But I felt like everybody was acted very well. Nobody felt unconvincing.
Yeah. Bill Condon is a solid director. I prefer Gods and Monsters, but he is a solid director. He even made he directed the last 2 Twilights, which means that it was his idea to have them all get killed, and then come back. So it's like
good.
It's like good so Bill Condon, solid guy.
I think I might suggest this to my parents.
That's a good idea.
There's a little teeny bit of violence in it. Mom might get upset, but I think Dad would be really on it.
Yeah, I think your parents would enjoy this.
Do you think your parents might?
Not so much. Possibly, but not so much. But I bet your parents would enjoy it.
Or you might like it.
Yeah.
It has old people in it, so obviously you won't like it.
But this is what we're going to watch, hopefully within the week. I hope. This is an officially licensed Doctor Who fan film. They used to be made a bunch before New Who came back, where they actually get the characters licensed from the BBC, and they film it with classic Who actors, with very low budget sorts of stuff, and they used to put it out on VHS. This is the first one they've done in years. I talked about these in my quick guide to Classic Who. So this is the new one with Syl from 6th Doctor. It's got Christopher Ryan, who played the general of the Sontarans in New Who. You have a couple of other things. This is written by Phil Martin.
And it's the original actor who played Syl.
Yes. Then look at that special effects. That looks even worse than it did in the 80s. That is amazing. Philip Martin, who I believe wrote several classic Who stories. So I'm like, this is probably not going to be good because his stuff, it doesn't tend to be very good, but it is an amazing bit of that's Sophie Aldred who played Ace.
It's an act of love.
Yes,
to the fandom. And actually, Nabil Shaban, am I saying his name right?
I believe so.
Who played Syl. He has
muscular dystrophy.
No, I think he has osteogenesis imperfecta.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
That's because that's the one that Mr. Glass has.
Yeah.
In Unbreakable, that's why I remember it. He was actually in a really, really, really great documentary about Ivar the Boneless,
the strangest Viking.
Pursuing in a documentary fashion, pursuing the theory that the reason he was called that was because he had a disability similar to what the Dutchman has.
And if you watched Vikings,
it was really good too.
If you ever seen Vikings, the show, you'll know that they basically went with that theory for the character of Ivar the Boneless. He's played by a guy who clearly doesn't have that thing, but his legs don't work. And so he's carried around his shield, which is as described. And
he's also a big advocate for disabled actors.
Yeah.
Because his thing is like, I'm an actor. I've been, I did all this stuff. I'm a predominantly stage actor, but all this other kind of stuff. If you need a disabled character, you should hire a disabled actor.
Yeah,
and I'm 100% behind that,
I agree. And it's really sad that Syl is a very entertaining character. He is, if you haven't seen season, the Sixth Doctor's era.
Kind of like Jabba the Hutt kind of mentality, but more capitalism.
It looks like a miniature Jabba the Hutt, a bit. But he's basically a proto-Ferengi, because these guys were created before the Ferengi.
Capitalism!
And I'm not accusing the Ferengi of being ripping off, because it's a very, very easy archetype to do. But
it's basically capitalism.
If someone came up with him after watching, one of the Syl's episodes, I would not be surprised. But I doubt that's what happened. I mean, the Ferengi. It's a very
female.
It's a very obvious thing to come up with, because for Star Trek. But they're very similar.
Well, and I think a lot of classic Who hinged on, like, if it was like, we're going to a place to do a thing with people and there's an authority, the authority was either a corporation or fascism, because Brits love them some fascism.
Just
really weird.
You could write papers on.
But yeah, no, so if you like what you hear about The Good Liar, and you, again, want to see Sir Ian McKellen say the phrase fucking cunt, go for it. If you just want to know the twist, just go on Google the plot.
If you want to see,
it's really good.
If you want to see Jim Carter's glorious eyebrows, he was the...
He was the accountant, right?
Yeah.
They were just like Peter Capaldi's on steroids.
His eyebrows were never actually that noticeable previously, because he used to have jet black hair. He was in what do you call it? He was in Shakespeare in Love and a bunch of other stuff. But since his hair started to go silver, his eyebrows have stayed, and it's like, holy crap.
Good Lord.
It's like Norman Lamont.
Oh, and we got a trailer for a film called 21 Bridges with Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And
Keith
that guy's name?
Keith David.
No, not Keith David.
The guy who plays the yellow M&M.
Yeah. And he's J. Jonah Jameson now again in the MCU. Well, for now anyway.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that guy's name? He was in Oz. He played the white supremacist in Oz.
And he was the drum guy in Whiplash. Not Whiplash. Is it Whiplash? I don't know. He's in it. And
I never remember his name, but he's great. I love him.
I saw that trailer on YouTube a bunch, and I kept skipping because I was like, meh, I don't really give a crap. But then, in this one, because I was forced to watch it the whole way through, and I was like, holy shit, is that Alexander Siddig?
What?
I'm in.
We're probably going to see this. It looks like, and basically like, oh, there's these many bridges in this many ways in and out of Manhattan. Lock it down. We'll get the cop killers, because apparently 8 police are shot. And I thought to myself, oh God, telling New Yorkers what they can and can't do. Oh Lord, that's so many class action lawsuits. But it sounds like it'd be based on the kind of book that not James Patterson, but like an author like James Patterson might write.
Yeah, if it wasn't writing Zoom.
I shelve thrillers. I don't really read them, so I wouldn't really say. But if you're a reader of thrillers, you probably isn't based on a book, because this was based on a book, The Good Liar by Nicholas Cyril, and I remember shelving his stuff. So, but anyway, so if we've enticed you, go see it. If it sounds like we're rushing, we are, because we ordered takeaway. We ordered kebab, and we're waiting for it to come, because it's like almost 9 o'clock, and I had a long night out last night, so.
Yeah.
But we love you, and you'll be seeing, so much more of us.
Yes.
It's not my fault.
season.